everybody, I'm Tommy, and you are on the lifeboat. What's happening? Please do me a favor and smack that like button. He really chaps YouTube when they have to push my videos. Also, if you have not hit subscribe, please do so, and then hit the bell for notification. And in theory, they'll tell you when I'm going live. That is just a theory, though. Joanne Marie, I'm glad you're here. Taylor Miller, what's happening? Hey, Heather, and from Massachusetts. The News Nut, what's up? MJ, glad that you're here. There's the Johnny Scoville. It's my brother. You can find him at Chase the Heat, a little South American style. All right, people, we got a lot we have to cover today. There's going to be, hey, David Booley, there she is. Would you look at that? That is my girl. Reese, how are you? Don't go anywhere, babe. I love you. Glad that you're here. The sheriff is absolutely being told what to do by somebody. He effed this all up. Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that, and we're going to get into that entire case. But before we do, just a quick update, because guess who was in court today? I'll give you a hint. He looks a lot like that. And I'll tell you what, there were theories about this guy and the looks. He always looked a little off, right? This is Nick Reiner. He is the son of Michelle and Rob Reiner, and the man accused of killing Michelle and Rob Reiner. Of course, Rob Reiner being the director and producer of some of the greatest films of our generation, including The Princess Bride, which somehow my wife has not yet seen. There are some other images. These are the first time we're seeing him since his arrest. But in every one of these, he has that same look. That would be his attorney right there, Kimberly Green. She is a public defender. As of now, his family is not visiting him. They are having no interaction with him whatsoever. So all of the speculation we had in the beginning about why Alan Jackson, his last attorney, left is turning out to be absolute facts. They're not going to pay for this guy's defense. They're not going to pay to try to save their brother for killing the parents. And then there's one more, I believe. This is he is obviously shaved his head. And if you look at it closely, I blew up a couple of these. I don't think this guy's getting a lot of time in the shower. That's pretty common for people that go to jail the first time. He is in a observation cell. If you watched the last show that I did where we talked about Epstein, in an observation cell in real life, you are monitored 24 hours a day. There's a camera on you. So anything he's doing in that cell, they know about. He entered today at the arraignment, he entered a plea of not guilty. There's a lot of people, hey, Justice Jane, there's a lot of people that seem to be confused by that. I think people thought that he would enter not guilty by reason of insanity. That is not something that happens in the state of California. What happens is, hey, Roulette Master, what's happening? You enter a plea of not guilty. Then you go to trial for the murder, not the unaliving, but the murder. By the way, I got, no exaggeration, 6 emails in the last 24 hours from people that say, you know what, I survived sexual assault, and it offends me when I hear smexual assault. One person said, the word rape is ugly, but I survived one. And you know what? I'm not going to censor my speech. It's disrespectful, so we're just not going to do it. Yeah, Lucky Chucky. This is a reality. Let me just wrap this one up real quickly. This Nick Reiner case is going to be a fascinating one, I promise you. But the way that it's going to work is he's going to go to trial for the murder of his mother and his father. There are special circumstances involved in this. That is that he killed 2 people in the same night. That's an issue. He did it with a blade, which is vicious. And they say that the crime scene is one of the worst that anyone has ever seen. So it's still on the table for the death penalty. I don't know about the family. I know that Rob Reiner was very anti-death penalty. That would lead me to believe that his siblings would not want that to happen. Is it true the mother was still alive when they found her? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And that got a lot of traction. There were a lot of different channels that ran with that, including Billy Bush, Hot Mike with Billy Bush. That is one of those stories. Hey, Kevin Hawthorne, Lakeland, Florida, good to see you. That is one of those stories that they ran with. In fact, what they said was she died in an ambulance on the way to the hospital. She was dead when they found her. Both were found in the bedroom. And this is so absolutely vicious. This was right out of one of those really, really ugly kind of slasher films, right? They were both dead when they found them. They had been dead a long time. by the time they found them. But they said that there were multiple stab wounds on both victims, and their throats were slit. This was a frenzied, crazy attack. It is absolutely horrific, babe. It really is. It's like a horror movie. Unboxed with Lori says, yeah. But it is true that the nest cam for Nancy Guthrie was on 2 different days. Someone was stalking her. That is absolutely a fact that came out today. So just to wrap up real quickly on Nick Reiner, we will be covering that case. Oh, thank God. Rue, we have been so worried about you. I swear to you, I have half of the world praying for you. Rue is in a part of of Mexico that, man, I'm just so glad to see you in this chat right now, Rue. Hear that, Johnny Scoville? Yep. Okay, good. So we will be following the Nick Reiner case. I don't buy the not guilty by reason of insanity at all. At all. I'm sorry, I don't. And there are people that are going to. This guy has been awful his entire life. It's the truth. You're wrong. Well, I could be. Which truth? Oh no. Here's the thing. The McNaughton rule has always been applied basically the same way. And the McNaughton rule is, do you or do you not know that what you're doing is wrong? And premeditation is something that shows that. So does post-meditation. You take the time to clean up the scene and leave. This guy has had violent outbursts throughout his entire life. The narrative that his medication got switched and that is what caused this. We will have to see this played out in court. As far as who is right and who is wrong, I guess a jury will have to decide that. I don't personally buy it at all. This is a guy that covered his tracks. They still don't know where the murder weapon is. He's a guy that had gone over and gotten a hotel room where he could go in and clean himself up, cover the windows, and then go out and get some dope. There's a big difference between someone being insane and someone being not guilty by reason of insanity. I always go back to Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer was eating guys' junk. He was cooking penises and eating them. He had a stack, right, that he had built out of skulls in his bedroom. This was a guy that, not me. Okay, Janet. This is a guy that absolutely was batshit crazy. However, not by the McNaughton rule standard. He had a vat of acid in his house that he was putting these people in. Why? Because he was trying to get rid of the bodies. He was trying to cover up the crimes that he did. That shows that you knew what you were doing was wrong. Now, Harvey Levin and his ilk have come out and said, that doesn't matter anymore. We found a case that will prove this. The case isn't even in the United States of America. Today, he looked like he was trying to hold back a laugh. It made me sick. I saw that. Honestly, that is what it looked like. Now, just to give the guy a bit of a break, the pressure that people feel when they get into court, he's never been in that situation. It is, it's rough, right? It's really kind of a tough situation, and very often there's that sort of I don't know what you call it, release, right? There's a release where you just think, I think he's an entitled prick that was finally told no and his response was murder. MJ, I think a lot of people are probably going to agree with on that. Why, thank you, Loretta Hauser. Soft parenting. Sadly, I'm not trying to blame the parents, but was his rehab trips not court ordered? No, it was not, Taylor Miller. All 18 of them. West Coast Fancy Nancy, good to see you. All 18 of those rehabs were done by the family trying to control him. He was somebody that was scaring the hell out of the family for a very long time. And he did some really ugly stuff at the rehab as well. You know, he has already admitted that he has manipulated people at rehabs, doctors and hospitals to get more dope. He used the term played crazy. That's not going to play well when you're trying to actually now say that you are not guilty by reason of insanity. So let's get over into the Nancy Guthrie case. But beforehand, do me a favor and hit that like button. Hit the bell for notification after you hit subscribe. And then when I go live, in theory, you're going to know about it. We had an interesting development today that they're saying that the images that we saw, you remember the guy without the backpack who they say is the same person with the backpack? A lot of people don't believe that. Oh my God, please tell me that Harvey didn't receive yet another ransom letter. No, no, he is not. Debbie Love and Life, good to see you. Just finished watching Reese's replay in time to catch Tommy. Cool. Awesome. I love that. Reese was on fire tonight. That was a great show. Is it still tomato beard in your mind? Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, it is. And until I see something that is really going to change that, then that to me is the logical choice at this point. Until I see something other than that, I don't. The other option is normally somebody that has just got bad wiring, but I don't think this was done by one person. I think this was done by 2 or 3 people. So this is one of those. Hello from Vegas. This is one of those situations that we're going to have to see this played out. Unfortunately, the sheriff has been so bad from the beginning. I mean, honest to God, at the 3-week mark, he says, well, there may have been accomplices. Took you 3 weeks to get to that point, did you? I mean, that's terrifying. It really is. It took him 3 weeks to notify, allegedly, it took him 3 weeks to notify his counterparts in Mexico that they might want to be on the lookout for somebody that could have taken this woman across the border. What the hell was he doing for the first 3 weeks? Honest to God, there are search parties that are being put together privately all over Tucson. And he's telling the people, I don't want you going out and searching because you might disturb a crime scene. Everybody do the scene right now from The Naked Gun and slap yourself in the head. You are going to talk about a crime scene that people are going to walk through, but you didn't secure the house or the street. Hey, the Desi Do One, how are you? I finally believe the FBI is looking for Dominic Evans and is keeping it on the down low so they don't spook him or Tommaso and Annie. There's a lot of stuff that's been made recently about DNA and them having to separate it. I heard some people that are pretty in the know in DNA that said very oftentimes if it's really difficult to separate, it's because there may be familial DNA. Now, I mean, obviously, Annie has been in that house a lot. That doesn't necessarily mean she did anything wrong, but it certainly makes you think. This is Dominic. If you guys have never seen him before, this is the bandmate of Neckbeard. He is the drummer. Do you see that? People have theorized it's a burn or a scar. Could have been from a punch. Other people say maybe really, really bad case of herpes that left a scar. Either way, there's also a missing spot on the same part of the lip of the person wearing the balaclava, right? Obviously, they have facial hair there, but it's not growing in where the scar is. And it seems to be very much in the same place. So are they looking for him? They might be. Those search parties found a backpack. As it turns out, it is not the same backpack, and it has been ruled out. Yeah, Missy says, I believe the feds are doing a lot, and they are being very quiet. Well, let's hope so. Because the sheriff has not been. To come out and say we've got a device that's looking for her pacemaker, just her pacemaker. Are the siblings still in Arizona? Everybody is still in Arizona. There was a question earlier on today, too, before I went live, where somebody said, how come we don't hear anything about Savannah's husband? They do have children, and he had been taking care of the kids. He also did not work for the Clintons. He didn't, right? He has a firm that goes out and tries to help people with PR. But a lot of what has been said about him, the fact that he was trying to clean up the Epstein stuff, there's no truth to that. There's no truth to that. If you go and actually do the research on it, that's not what this guy did. He worked for Al Gore. Now, is Al Gore close to the Clintons? You betcha. You betcha. But he didn't work for the Clintons. And when people keep repeating that over and over and over again, it's starting to become accepted truth, and it isn't. If supposedly, hold on, if supposedly Dom Evans was involved, then it would be initiated by Tommaso, right? Well, you would think so, right? That would be logical. By the way, I've also seen a photo of this man, and he has a tattoo on his wrist, right around the same place that they're saying they have seen the similar tattoo. I listen to you all the time, Quib. It's a terrible thing to say. I always listen to you. It makes me happy. Do you think they'll find the body? I do, but I don't think they're going to find the body until they find the people that did it. Very often, that becomes a negotiating tactic to not get the needle stuck in your arm, right? Who is this man? He is the drummer of a band that the son-in-law, right? We call him Neckbeard, because he has just that vicious, unbelievable goatee beard that just kind of, the thread count on it is unbelievable. Have I ever thought this? Have you ever thought that 2 minutes is a very short time for the garage door to go up and then down, 9:48 and 9:50 for an 84-year-old woman with mobility issues? Yeah. And then I've heard people say the exact opposite. If you think about it, like I lived in Tucson, I lived in the Catalina foothills, and my wife was there. She could tell you, you basically have to walk the distance of a car and about 10 more feet. So I think there's a decent chance that that time frame isn't too off. Especially, we don't know how she was dropped off, if she really was anyway. But if she was dropped off, maybe he drives in, maybe he helps her get out. It's really hard because we don't have any information. We know the stuff we shouldn't know, like they have a device that can find her pacemaker, hers alone. We know that the backpack they're tracing down. We know that they're going to gun stores with everybody's image and name that bought holsters from Walmart. These are the kind of things we don't need to know. It would be great if they could say, hey, we eliminated the family. How about we know for a fact that they did X, Y, and Z? We gave them a polygraph test, blah, blah. None of those things are happening, which is why so many people are theorizing and coming up with these kind of theories. Do you have proof that Tomato had excessive debt? I do not. There's a lot of people that have talked about gambling debts, drug debts, but none of that is anything that I can verify. There are a lot of people, though. One of the first things they do in any kind of a case like this is to do a forensic deep dive, and that would be a financial, right? Forensic deep dive. Theory, what if a chance to boost someone's career? It's a possibility. I mean, honestly, and at this point, the only theories for me that make zero sense are the people that think that this is about politics, the people that think, Reese, don't do that, Taylor Miller. My wife does not have a beard, for the love of God. I can't believe she says that. She does not have a beard. Tommy, I don't understand why people are scared to stay with neck beard in the band. They act like they're afraid of nanos. Well, there's something to that. It does seem like they're backpedaling as fast as possible. Now, logically, if he has been cooperating, and they claim that he has, right, that he and Annie, they've come in for questioning, you don't want them to lawyer up. The last thing in the world you want is for them to bail. Did Nick get charged with insanity? That it doesn't work that way. Monica, what will happen is he will go to court. He will fight the case. If he's found guilty, they will have another trial to determine whether or not he is not guilty by reason of insanity. I believe the Guthrie family is more dysfunctional than they portray. I think Annie and Tommaso were the doormats who were left with the whole responsibility of taking care of Nancy. Well, they were, weren't they? I mean, legitimately, they had to take care of her. Everyone else, you had the son who was the fighter pilot. He lives in Vermont. And Savannah obviously was all over the world. Right? All over the world. Find Dominic and they'll find Nancy. He'll rat out Tommaso and Annie. If they find one of them, I promise you, whoever they find is going to rat out the others. That's my theory on this. Space Mog Luna, how do you know that information is inaccurate? I don't doubt you, by the way, because in the first press conference, we were told that it was either the first or second, but we were told that they knew that 2 minutes because it was caught on camera. Then they changed it to say that the device itself keeps track of that time. But there's been so much misinformation that has been put out by Sheriff Nanos. The guy's an idiot. I'm sorry, he's an idiot. And it's caused, he says, don't go after this family. They are absolutely victims in this. You're the reason people are going after them because you didn't give any kind of information at all that was real in the beginning. The first reason that everyone started looking at them is because the sheriff said it was 1 hour and 7 minutes, right, before they called 911. We saw the blood on the front, of the house. You're going to find mom's blood and wait 1 hour and 7 minutes to call 911? Turns out that isn't the truth, and it was closer to 7 minutes. They didn't get there at 11. So much of what he told us in the beginning was just wrong. It's like the guy had a chubby to jump in front of a camera and start doing an interview with anybody that had a microphone, right? He really seems to love being in front of the camera. And Lisa Renfro says supposedly, which is a lot like allegedly. Dominic has been MIA for weeks now. I have heard that as well. There is a neighbor of his that says he has not been there. My theory is this was a Tommy, if Nancy is in Mexico, they're having civil unrest because of the cartels. Yes, they are. They killed El Menche, and that is going to cause all kinds of problems. But I don't think this is one of those situations that the cartels wouldn't put up with it. I know that that sounds crazy to a lot of people, but the cartels are myopic, right? They're very focused on what they do, which is moving crap loads of dope, right? They want to move crap loads of dope across the border, and anything that's going to interfere with that. You don't want the Federal Bureau of Investigation cruising across the border to see what's going on, right? Another vlogger thinks it's Luke, Kayla, and her boyfriend Will because they fit the profile from what the guys on the interview room profiled them. Thoughts? My thought is they have been excluded, and we know that they have given polygraph tests to people. And one of the rumors that is coming out is that all of them took polygraph tests. I think that Luke is a criminal, right? He has he's got a pretty serious criminal jacket, and he's a rat. So if there was anything that was going on, right? 24 inches here in Staten Island. Wow, that's tough. This guy would have ratted. He has a career of being a rat. The first time that he went to federal prison, he went for drugs. It was meth and cocaine. And guess what? You ain't getting 2 years on that. You're just not. There's not a federal sentence that's going to get you 2 years on that. In order for it to go fed, you're going to have about 500 grams, right? He should have gotten a decade minimum. He got 2 years. He ratted. And if you keep going through his criminal jacket, you also find out Luke is one of the two gentlemen that was pulled out of the Range Rover on the 13th, I believe it was, February 13th, in the parking lot of Culver's Restaurant. You remember when we saw the hatchback open and they were holding up a towel and everybody said that one of the people in the car committed suicide? That never happened. Okay. They pulled two people out of there. One owned the car lot that sold that car. His name is Zach. Or they call him Zach. He's got a name that's just a nightmare. Did you get that reference? His name's a nightmare. We're just going to call him Gregory. What is the motive behind the crime? Until somebody can prove otherwise, I'm of the firm belief that the motive is almost always cash. So until we see something other than that, I think that they were trying to kidnap this woman, and I don't think it went well. I think that they would have absolutely shown proof of life, but you don't go in and snatch an 84-year-old woman and pull her out of the house. If the information they're giving us, and I've talked to two different doctors, one who installed one after another of these kind of pacemakers, and he said that when she left that house, if there had been an episode that was going to cost her life, that would have been recorded on the watch or the phone prior to her leaving. So when she left, she was in, at least her heart was beating. So why do you steal an 84-year-old woman? Financial motive, I guess, would be the best bet. I do not believe this was done by one person. Survived the blizzard of 26, Rhode Island checking in. Papa Kenny, I'm glad that you're here. Stay safe, please. But yeah, if they come across this guy, if this guy had done something, I think he would have ratted. He's got mad priors for it, right? He really does. Every time this guy gets in trouble, he had felon in possession of a firearm. Felon in possession of a firearm. That is that's the United States Code 528 or 914, right? Those are the laws. You go to prison for that. There's nobody that gets probation for that. It doesn't happen. I went to prison for a long time for being felon in possession of a firearm. They break you off for that. You get a lot of time. This guy got probation. He is a professional rat. Every single time he's gotten in trouble, he's told on somebody. The sheriff walked that back and said new employees got polygraphed. I think it's the other way around. He started off with the story about new hires being polygraphed, and then he came out afterwards to say they have been using polygraphs to eliminate suspects as well. The people like the pool guy, the people like the people that came in to clean, those people all volunteered happily and said that they would take polygraphs. That is the story at least that's the story that has been going around. Now, unlike any case that anybody has ever followed in true crime, you never know if what you're hearing is BS because Sheriff Nanos isn't doing a real bang-up job at keeping people abreast of anything that's going on. And I'll get haters today, I promise you, who are going to leave comments afterwards that say, they don't owe you anything. They don't owe you any information. No, they don't. Truthfully, they don't. But go one way or the other. Keep your friggin' mouth shut or give us enough information so that, what did he call us? Armchair quarterbacks, internet sleuths, right? That's an issue. If you're not going to give information, Everybody should know at this point that true crime is a genre. And it's not just a genre, it's a massive genre. This is one of the most popular and fastest growing segments of YouTube, especially this format where there's somebody that talks and they do it in a live. If you take the amount of time that people watch YouTube, true crime makes up a crap load of it. So knowing that and knowing that this literally is going to be one of the biggest things to ever come down the pike. By the way, people also leave all kinds of comments that say, if she wasn't a white woman, right? And you know what? There could be a lot of truth to that. Honestly, we know that there was another abduction of a former someone that served in the military, and she has been abducted. They're looking for her. Certainly not getting the same amount of press. She's African American. The fact that this is Savannah Guthrie's mom has a lot to do with this, way more than the fact that she's white. This is an elitist thing, not a race thing. And also, we're driving it. Make no mistake. They're not covering this the way they're covering it because of who she is. It's because people are watching. That's what it comes down to with everything. You know, the news isn't the news. The news is there to sell Mercedes-Benz. The news is there for reasons that, you know, are basically to run ads. And I'm sorry, people, I got to look over to the left here because my I'm telling you, the problems I'm having with StreamYard, I can't get the chat to consistently go. But it kind of a bummer. So yeah, to block a cam, you do this, you don't do that. There's a lot of really odd stuff about this. But what they're saying, and they announced today, is that somebody went and cased this house. They came there before the abduction, and it looks exactly like the same guy. So basically, hold on one second. Damn it all. Yeah, they are from different days. Absolutely. I lost it. Someone was saying something about the Range Rover, and I can't find it. I have watched that Range Rover video so many times. The people that still believe that somebody got killed in there, why search that particular Range Rover? That's an excellent question, right? That is an excellent question. And again, we don't really know, right? But the Guthrie cars are still in impound. They're going to try to get into that computer box. What they want to do is see if that car, and it did meet the same description. You remember when they said they were looking for a grayish truck? Well, apparently they were looking for a grayish truck or SUV, which is great, right? Because that's two really different things. And allegedly, here's the story they're giving us. Allegedly, that car was sold on the 13th, the day that they pulled those people over. Somebody from MG Motors, which is where that was purchased, said that the purchase was sketchy. The person that came in and bought it was sketchy, and they started getting bad feelings. And if you see something, say something. That's basically how that started. Allegedly. However, they don't tell us the truth on anything. So we kind of have to play this thing by ear. By the way, that is my beautiful wife in the chat. That is Relatable Reese. If you've never gone over there and checked out her channel, you really ought to. You'll thank me later. And hopefully, because I can't see, but hopefully she's spamming the chat so you can see exactly what that is. And the Johnny Scobo, Chase the Heat. If not for nepotism, right? Come on, people. It's YouTube. All right, there's 1,000 of you in here right now. Do me a favor, hit that like button. Then hit subscribe and hit the bell for notification. It makes a huge difference, especially if you say words like murder and rape and suicide, right? If you say all of the words you're not supposed to say, I rely on you guys to absolutely do this. The new reporting suggests maybe Tommaso wasn't involved because he would have told the porch guy about the camera, right? Well, here's the deal. Their theory is that person came up, saw the camera, and then bolted. But we don't know that. As a retired criminal, there are times you just get a feeling. There are times that you see something and it makes you uncomfortable. I think that there was more than one person there on the night that we do have the video of the person in the balaclava. As he's bending down, he looks up and to the left, right? And there seems to be, it looks like he's looking at someone. When you take that image and you start to play with it, you will see a light in the distance. You guys may have seen this already, but you see a light and you see that light go on and off. Now that light source could be like a flashlight thing. It also could just be the moon reflecting on something, but it goes away and it makes it look like there is some other person there. Thought Criminal says makes no sense. None of this makes any sense. None of it. The fact that we are not kidnapping makes me uncomfortable. Yeah, I don't blame you. It's one of the most horrific crimes in the world. It really is. It's such a damaging thing to the victims. And there are people that say, this is just to torture Savannah. If there's more than one person, though, that's hard, right? If this is just a psycho that is so preoccupied with Savannah Guthrie, how do you bring other people in to do this with you? I think that the motivation had to be cash. People ask what my theory is. I think that this was intended to be a kidnapping, and the kidnapping went wrong. They drove off with that woman and she didn't survive. And that's not a stretch. She was leaking before she left. They were also saying that there are blood droplets inside the house that also are the same type of drop. In other words, it's not cast off. It's not, if you're running and you're leaking as the blood hits the ground, right? Or if you're moving, when the blood hits the ground, it moves in the direction that you were going in. These are literally droplets. So it's almost like maybe she was over someone's back. She was being held, whatever the case may be. But it wasn't a situation where it looks like she was walking or being dragged or anything along those lines. They said that the blood droplets inside are almost identical to the blood droplets outside. That's odd to me. But again, everything about this case is odd. It really is. Everything. I want to show some photos of who it might be, huh? Well, that would be interesting. No, I will be able to play the part with the light in the background tomorrow. I got to make sure that I can pirate that before I do. The number of these videos that get demonetized for me, just based on how I talk, the things that I say, it's kind of staggering. In fact, if I do anything on Epstein, I'm screwed, and I'm going to be covering Epstein a lot. But Epstein, right? It was a suicide. You can't say that. You got to say he unalived himself. And it was a suspension type unaliving. He hung himself, right? I'm not doing that 1984 newspeak BS, man. Thought the same thing. Someone holding her, waiting for the car. Yeah, carrying her over his shoulder, even carrying her like you would a baby. I mean, who knows? But it doesn't seem like this is a walking type of a situation. There's also a lot being made about totally random. You think so? I don't think that this is a random crime at all. I think this is a very targeted crime. I can't begin to tell you just how sure I am that this is not a robbery gone wrong. I know that people keep running with that theory. The only people I've ever met that did a home invasion at night were going in on drug dealers. They knew a drug dealer couldn't call 911. They were going to go in with 4 or 5 guys, overwhelming show of force, try to get to the dope dealers before they can get a gun or anything else, because they're going to steal the money and the drugs. That person can't call 911. They know what's on the other side of that door. They know the people probably have weapons. It is a very rare thing for a criminal to do a home invasion at night. Now, you get guys with bad wiring or whatever, but real criminals don't break into houses at night. They break into businesses at night, and they break into houses during the day. And they don't go through the front door. People that assume that he was trying to get that front door open does not make any sense to me. I'll be really honest with you. It just doesn't make sense. I tend to think it's family members too. Lucky me, I tend to think that this is family members. That's right. Why her house? Yeah, and there are people that have said, maybe it was the wrong house because the person next door was in the stone business, right? He sells jewels, so diamonds, things like that. If you're going to do a home invasion, it's sad when you have the Scientologist promoting Johnny the Peppermint. Boy, you're not lying. If you're going to go and rob a house and then all of a sudden something happens.
Thank you.
All of a sudden something happens where that goes bad, you're still going to rob it. Why the hell take nothing? That doesn't make any sense. If this was a home invasion gone wrong, you're still getting the gold. You're still going to go after, allegedly, there was pain medication there. And it has been leaked, whether it's true or not, right? We don't know, but allegedly she was on fent patches. They're better than gold. They're better than money. They're the easiest things in the world to sell, right? There are so many people in the United States that are addicted to fentanyl, and this is alpha fentanyl. This isn't garbage street fentanyl. That's something that people can move really easy. But they were so myopic, right? Does Johnny like Carolina Reapers? He eats a hell of a lot of them. I don't know if he likes them.
They're fun during a skydive.
Yeah, he did eat 10 of them while skydiving. Will your nose bleed if you are dead? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, eventually it's going to stop because once your heart stops pumping, but everything that you sort of have up there will continue to go. She apparently was in a lot of pain. Unbox Life with Lori. There have been statements made about this, kind of alluding to the fact that she has had a lot of physical problems, that she had really survived a lot of crap. But her daughter said that without her medication, she was going to be in excruciating pain. So your nose is going to continue to leak. It's not going to continue to pump, but anything that you've got up inside the beak will still go out. Wrong house, I exclude now if he scoped it out earlier. That does make a hell of a lot of sense, doesn't it? The 2-minute garage door being open for her was nothing more than a throw-off tactic. Okay, what do you think? Where do you think they were going for that? What do you think it was to throw off Punisher? And I'm not mad at you. I would like you to help me go all the way through with that, if you could. And hit the like button, people. Smack that like button. Or give it a gentle whatever. Put a little DNA on it. And then hit subscribe and hit the bell for notification. I question, right? I question the garage thing. But so are you thinking that she never made it home? Because that is one of the theories that people put out a lot, that she was killed at Annie's. If she was killed at Annie's, it would have been a very different situation. That pacemaker and her watch would have been on Annie's Wi-Fi. When she was separated from the base, she was on the Wi-Fi at her house. I still think it's Neckbeard and his band buddy. The band buddy looks just like the guy in the porch. He does, and he's got that really weird scar. It's not weird, but he's got a scar on his upper lip that seems to match. Wouldn't there be a video of her being dropped off? Well, allegedly there was, and then they changed. Did her phone ring at her daughter's home the night of playing games? Don't know whether or not, but it did hook up to the Wi-Fi there at some point. That's what sucks. Nancy is alive. The crackpots. Yeah, I'm not trying to bum anybody out, but how in the name of God, right? How in the name of God would this woman still be alive? And for what reason? I mean, why would you be keeping her alive if you're not going to show proof of life? It doesn't make any sense to me. There's another guy with an upper lip thing. I'd love to see him. Send me an email. 2 in the pink, 1 on the like button. Oh, wow, that is a good one. Tommy, I still think Neckbeard is responsible. It makes the most sense. In your opinion, do you think the abduction for ransom was the original plan? If killing was the plan, why not leave the body? Exactly. In my opinion, this was not a hit. If it's a hit, you're just going to do it. You're going to do it in the house. There's no reason whatsoever to take the person away, right? I know that's, these guys aren't caregivers. And I've talked to a couple of doctors, again, one that put in a lot of pacemakers. And he said the biggest problem was probably going to end up being dehydration. You know, if you get dehydrated and you have a pacemaker, you're in really deep trouble. And he said that he would be afraid that she's not getting proper nutrition, that she's not getting proper water, hygiene, things like that. All of those could be life-threatening for somebody that's in the condition that she's in, right? That's the reality. And the reality is nobody was a jerk when they were saying she's only going to make it, she's only going to make it 72 hours if we don't get the medication, right? The whole world was thinking if she didn't get medication in 72 hours, that she was going to pass. Now it's been 3 weeks. And every time I say, I'm sorry, in my mind, she's probably already gone, people get really pissed off, right? People get really angry at me. And I'm sorry, but, it sucks sometimes to be the mayor of Realville. But what would be the point of keeping this woman alive if you're not trying to get money? They're not showing any proof of life, right? And I don't believe that any of the demands for Bitcoin have anything to do with this. I think these are dirtbags that are just trying to make that happen. I read that YouTube doesn't like caps. They don't.
I hate them more than YouTube.
And Johnny Scoville's not a fan either. Do you think it's possible they were simply to take her and not bring her back? Someone had a major grievance. Here's the thing. If somebody has a major grievance, how does this send a message? If you don't communicate the message, then they just think this is an abduction gone wrong, a robbery gone wrong. If this was to send the message, then they send the message, right? You send out a letter that says, hey, you know what? We wanted you to sell this house, blah, 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 something. But there doesn't seem to have been any communication at all from whoever took her to the family. So if it's to send the message, I can't figure out how that works. My aunt is 84 years old and not real healthy. It's damn near takes her at least 1 minute just to get out of the car. She also doesn't have a walker, moves just like a turtle. Yeah, and it's odd. It's odd, the 2 minutes. However, I've heard conflicting reports. There are people that say she can walk 50 yards. There are people that say she can walk 50 feet. It isn't going to be 50 feet from the front of that garage door into her kitchen. It's not. It's probably going to be about 30. And I think that she could do it in 2 minutes. And it's funny because in the very beginning, there were a lot of people that were going, that's way too long, right? That's way too long. And now it's kind of shifted to people going, that's not enough time for an older woman to get in. But we don't know. We don't know if, in theory, right, maybe the son-in-law, Neckbeard, helped her out of the car, helped her walk all the way in. Maybe they drove into the garage, right? So she only had to get out and walk 10 feet, 15 feet. We don't know because the information they give us is the kind of information that we shouldn't get. You know, stuff about devices and how they're looking for her and the fact that we're tracing the backpack, that everything this person wore came from Walmart. These are the things we don't need to know. What would be good is if we know how they determined that 2 minutes for real, because he's given us two different answers on that, right? Did you see the community wanted to do search groups and the sheriff stopped them and said they can't without a permit? Yeah, there are groups. I think one is called the Cajun Army or something along those lines that are coming in from other states to do this. Why? Because they're not doing it, right? Normally you would have search parties that go out constantly looking for anything. And there's been very, very little of that. And the sheriff doesn't seem to want to allow people to go out there. He said originally, this changed today. Originally it was, hey, that's all private property. You're going to start walking through people's property. This is going to be an issue. You would have to get permission from everybody. Then it changed. Yeah, the irony. Then that changed to, well, we don't want you to mess with the crime scene. What if that's potentially part of the crime scene? I didn't put any crime scene tape around the house, and for 21 days still have not secured the crime scene where we know it's the crime scene. But he wants to secure all of the Catalina foothills as a crime scene. It makes no sense. Carly Sue, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really appreciate you. It can still be a hit. Why? Because taking the body delays murder charges. No body, no murder. Space Mog Luna, I get that. However, if you're actually a criminal, this is one of those situations where if by some chance you grab the body, you go from having a handful of cops working your case to the entire world working your case. It changes massively when something starts to become a kidnapping, right? We've seen this, and they will figure it out, right? They're gonna figure it out. It may take a minute, but think of the Sherry Papini case, right? If you see what they did to make that come to fruition, thank you, Carly. If you could see what they did to make that come to fruition, all of the different evidence that they had to get to bust her, it was fascinating. Is it possible somebody in the Pima Police Department? Everything, I think, at this point is a possibility, right? Everything at this point is a possibility, with the exception of the fact that this was done to cover up the Epstein. That is not a possibility. An unstable person wanting to cause family pain every day, not knowing. Yeah, but it would have to be more than one, I think, right? Even Sheriff Nanos is now saying, yeah, we're probably looking at more than one person. Yeah, the one who faked her kidnapping, West Coast Fancy Nancy. It was absolutely incredible how they eventually busted her, right? They ended up tracking down the guy that she had stayed with. It was amazing, an amazing amount of work. And trust me, yeah, Brian Enton has said that this is chilling, that the FBI is still putting together leads. I believe it's going to freak us out when we find out. Tahoe Trinkets, I'm glad that you're here. Nancy's home owned in a trust. Who benefits? Well, that's the question, isn't it? And we assume that it's the house, but I don't know. And we don't know what her estate is, do we? I mean, she definitely inherited money at one time. Do you think the backpack could have been used to weigh the body down to throw into a river somewhere? That's a possibility. Coming across a river, there's only a couple of them, and I would imagine that they would have been doing the searching. The Sabino Canyon, there's a creek up there. Hi from Washington State. Thank you so much, Journey. I really appreciate you, and I'm glad that you are here. Thank you for the super chat. Makes a huge difference. Do you think Nanu could say more than one until they know? It's Kevin. A freezer makes a lot of sense, sadly. My daughter and son-in-law lives in Kennewick. That cut off too soon. I was trying to say he took her so he could use the gun or another gun elsewhere because his gun jammed and she recognized him. That's a possibility, right? That's a possibility. However, so if it was a hit, most people don't want the hit to be known as a hit, right? It would have been a very easy thing to make that go away. You kill an 84-year-old woman, it's not hard to stage a crime scene. If you go in and the person's 35-year-old people don't drop dead. They don't fall down in their shower and die. 84-year-old people fall down in their shower and die all of the time. Personally, I think the FBI knows. Yeah, I think the FBI knows a hell of a lot more than they say. They should have taped it off day one, says Charlotte, and that is the truth. Thank you again, Journey. They absolutely should have taped off that crime scene, and it is going to make, if they ever get these people, the defense attorneys are going to shred them. Why is the sheriff I heard today saying it's not just a break-in robbery? Yeah. Well, he's a house of fire, this guy, right? I mean, he's been a professional his entire life. He likes to brag that he's a very good police officer. I beg to differ. I think he's probably a better politician than he is a cop. He just doesn't seem like he has a handle on this. People say, what would you have done differently? I would have called in the FBI literally instantly. Minx the cutie, 5 of you just turned green. Thank you, Minx. That is so kind. I really appreciate that. Nanu probably saying not a break-in and robbery is because he watches the boat. Oh, if he does, I'm sure you're a great grandfather. You're probably a really good dude, right? But I don't think you're a great cop. He's Frank Drebin, then who is OJ? It's a good question, right? There's got to be somebody in there to play him. But he even looks like Frank Drebin, right? You guys have seen the pictures of him. He looks remarkably like Frank Drebin, and he continues to go on and on and on. He's interviewing with people in other countries, right? He's been doing interviews with the people from the BBC. I mean, honest to God, like, why are you doing interviews instead of doing this with a public information officer, right? People that do this for a living. The idea behind those press conferences is to keep all of the citizen sleuths having to show up every day. Those press conferences often go on for like an hour and a half, and they answer questions, and they don't answer much. But if you're one of those people that reports on this, you're going to be afraid that something is going to be said at that press conference that you're going to miss, and you have to go report on it. And it pulls all those people away from the house. As of right now, the police are being spied on by content creators. And I'm not mad at the content creators. Don't get this messed up. Hold on one second. Vehicle used or walked up. I don't think, this is just my opinion, but I don't think that they would have brought the car up while the camera was in good shape. That person that went to the front door wasn't trying to get through the front door. Yeah, there are bodies of water within an hour. You absolutely, if you start going into Sabino Canyon, there's water there. No, it's not the same backpack. Are you referring to the one that they found out in nature? Because that one definitely isn't the same backpack. 493 of you have hit the thumbs up button. Please do that for me. It goes a long way to pushing out videos for us poor suckers that say words we're not supposed to say, right? Speaking of which, a lot of you have written to me and said, you think this is a rape. that this was done because they wanted to sexually assault an 84-year-old woman. And I know to a lot of people, they go, no one would be turned on. That it doesn't work that way. Rapists don't do what they do because they're aroused, right? Very often they can't even finish the job. They can't, climax. They're just sick people that it's about domination. It's about fear. It's about all just sick shit that has nothing to do with sex. However, statistically, very often when these kind of things happen, the older the victim, the younger the perp. Almost across the board, it's one of those things that people have written books on. It's almost universal. So, what's that?
It's weird.
It is very, very strange. As Reese says, don't hear what I didn't say. You know what? My wife's pretty damn sharp, man. She really is. I have heard so many conspiracy theories that made no sense. You are the first person that has made any sense whatsoever. Thank you, Tommy. JD, what a kind thing to say. You would think both husbands would be there for their wives. One of them is taking care of children in another state, right? That's the word on Savannah's husband, is that he has been playing Mr. Mom and taking care of their kids. And it also would be so difficult if you came out, you're bringing the kids with you. Can you imagine the nightmare for the kids to be out in Tucson, Arizona right now? This is a circus in Tucson, right? I still have family there, and they say, they still live in the Catalina foothills, and it is a rugged place to be right now. Tommy, you can't blame content creators trying to crack the case themselves. No, I don't. I absolutely do not, right? This is true crime. We do this all the time on every case. However, the less info you give the true crime aficionados, the more that they're going to come up with theories like this has got something to do with Epstein, right? Those theories that seem to be less than grounded tend to come over, are caused by not enough information, right? And you can give information without acting like an idiot. Do you think one of the asshats has been at the scene? It could be, right? That people do this all the time. It never made sense to me. What is the latest with Ashley Banfield? I thought son-in-law was still in the mix. She has not backed off of that. What she has said was, if he's not, then it's probably because in the beginning they were myopic. They were focused in just on that, right? And that's a possibility. Love your show. Have you researched how many people have come up missing in Pima County so far this year? No, but it will be a ridiculously high number. But it won't be a ridiculously high number of 84-year-olds. There is a fairly decent drug trade in Tucson, and a lot of people come across that border. If Banfield came out at the beginning saying her impeccable insider cleared the son-in-law, would you still say he's guilty? And if so, why? Yes. And yeah, what I do every single time any case comes up, I look for what makes the most sense. And to me, what makes the most sense is the last person that saw her before she became abducted, right? The last person was Neckbeard. Who has acted the strangest since it happened, right? My conclusion is that in the process of grabbing this person, Quincy, in the process of grabbing the woman, she passed before they ever got a chance to do a proof of life. And now it's just a matter of them trying to not get caught. And here's the thing. How in the hell can you go back to your regular life? You understand what I'm saying? Think about the people in your sphere of influence. If Marissa Martin, I'm not sure who killed himself, the people in your sphere of influence, if somebody disappears for 3 weeks, you're going to notice it. By the way, everybody, do me a favor and smack the like button, hit that subscribe, and hit the bell for notification, and then get over there and subscribe to my wife's channel. She's so much more intelligent than I am. And a looker, forget about it. That is my... Yeah, he was the last person to see her. That's usually where he stops. Oh, you're good, Marissa Martin. Don't worry about it. You know what? I'm usually a little behind. As far as we know, Neckbeard was the last to see her. You always start the investigation there. Then you go to family. 8 out of 10 times that something like this happens, it's going to be family. So if we just play the numbers game and we do this in a way that makes sense, does the pacemaker change whether the person is in a freezer or the desert? Here's the thing. Once that heart stops beating, If the pacemaker was close enough to the base, we're going to know that. But if the pacemaker isn't close enough to the base, then we're never going to know. Tomato planned to get ransom money from Savannah. Yeah, that would be my guess, is that he had people that he set this up with. They were hoping to get paid. And thank you, Sharon Z. Always has great questions. And thank you for the support. Remember when everyone thought National Enquirer was stupid, and then they found a picture of OJ wearing Bruno Mali shoes that were in blood? He said he'd never wear those ugly shoes. Don't underestimate anyone with a clue. Rue, that's an incredibly intelligent comment. For real, that was a huge thing. He had never worn Bruno Mali's. In fact, I believe he said, I would never wear those ugly ass shoes. And I am so glad you are right. My wife and I were talking about you today. We're very worried. Sad to say, but I believe the body is frozen solid right now. George Carlin rules. Stay blessed. George Carlin raised my wife, and it really worked out well for her. If it wasn't for George Carlin, I probably would be single. I can't get past the fact that Neckbeard hasn't shown himself publicly in a video. If I were under such public scrutiny and innocent, I would be shouting from the rooftops. And that makes a lot of sense. Rue, thank you for the support. Victor A. Valente. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Yeah, I wouldn't be caught dead in those ugly ass shoes. Well, how'd that work out? That is what got him in the civil suit. And boy, you got to feel bad that he's now smoking turds in hell. With all the people in front of Nancy's house covering this story, I would not be surprised if the perp is there blending in. Papa Kenny, I think that one of the reasons that they put the street to one way and put up all of those cones and everything else is because they're trying to narrow that down, right? Carlos came out the next day. He sure did talk to the press. That's what people that are innocent do, in my humble opinion, right? And if somebody gets abducted in your family, the press is your best friend. You go out in front of the press and you say, even if they're bumming you out parked in front of your house, you say, have a little respect for the family, but please pray for my mother-in-law. And if you see anything, no matter how weird it seems, or no matter how small, if you see something, say something, because it's going to be one of you. That's usually what happens, right? They don't usually run and hide. They still have Carlos's phone. Absolutely. And they're going to for a while. It's just sort of how it goes down. They're going to absolutely go through all of that. That celebrate stuff. Carlos' attorney said still get a reading off of Carlos' attorney saying the files on him are sealed. He can't get them. Really? Could a helicopter still be getting a reading off the pacemaker in a freezer? Probably not. Probably not. If you put your anything Wi-Fi in with that much stuff in between it, that's not, because if you think about it, her pacemaker is no different than your earbuds. It's working on the same principle. Sikorsky, I'm glad that you're here. Good to see you. All right, people. You know what? That's pretty close to the end of this. I usually don't go too much longer than an hour, but I do want to see this woman, because if I don't, I never get a chance to see her. Look at you.
I'm getting ready to go to bed.
Really?
Yes, I'm waiting for you to call me, and that's why I look bad.
You look fantastic. I love you in black. This has got to be so tiring for the family. Can you imagine how awful this is for the family?
I can't believe it's even gone on this long. To be honest, I'm really kind of blown away by it.
Yeah, this is, an 84-year-old Karen, and withdrawal would kill somebody that age. I'm sorry, it would. I could not get through withdrawal at my age, and I have kicked dope probably more than anyone alive, right? For real. And look at this. Thank you for all you do. You and your wife are amazing. Well, one of us is, to be sure. It's all
Thank you, Jacqueline. Hey, Roberta. Well, thank you for that comment. That's really kind. Bunny, I've missed you.
Have you?
Well, yeah. Been thinking about you a lot.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you were here tonight. Last night I got a little out in the weeds. You know, when you're not here, I start to get a little wild.
I saw that you. I saw that. I went back and saw that, and I had to have a nice talk with you today about it.
I did.
Hey, Minx, Papa Kenny, Joan Marie, love you guys. Hey, Laura Beth, thank you. Yeah, guys, don't worry. He got a little bit in the weeds. I saw that on the replay, and I left a comment saying I missed one show, and really all hell really lost it in Ecuador. So we're going to keep tabs on Tommy a little closer. We're going to shorten that leash, and he likes it. He likes it because I rescued him from the pound.
I do a little.
You like it? No, really, babe. You know what you did.
I do.
You're cute.
Yeah.
I'd like to get a hold. I'd like to get a hold of you.
I'm looking for a little. We do have crushes on each other. There's no.
We do have a big crush. I do have a huge crush on Tommy, and it's never gone away. Do you know that? I have had a raging crush on you. Well, that's not true. When I first saw you and you dyed your beard, I was like, I can never know this person.
I was young. It wasn't that. Uh-oh. She thinks she gets a pass because she's over on the boat.
Hey, Barbara, wait. Not your channel, not your rules. Not my channel, but Tommy is mine. So I win. No.
They're doubling down on this too. Do you see this?
Jacqueline, yeah, it's just something you got to do, girl. When you've been married 15 times like I have, you know how to do this.
People are going to think it was really 15. It was 11.
It was 12. No, remember the 12?
12?
Yeah, there was the one that was an annulment, but then we had to go back. And remember, I had to get a whole set of attorneys.
Reese thinks my nose is sexy. Why do you think I asked you to marry me?
Oh, God, I love that nose. No, really? Seriously, can you just let me finish that real quick?
Sure.
So there was a time, kids, that Tommy dyed his handlebars, and he looked like Sam Elliott. It was terrifying, not in a good way. And now he looks like the Lorax, but he stopped dyeing that thing. And I said, let me get a hold of you. And I did. And we have had crushes on each other. Have we not? It is ridiculous. Put us in the same room.
Or just the same country.
It gets steamy. Speaking
of hands, just one quick demo here. See this?
Funny, show us.
This is a 2X, right?
Are you guys subscribed to me? Quit messing around. How come people aren't subscribing? I'm kind of upset about it.
Don't make me come to your house. This is a size 2X glove.
Babe, I don't think you can threaten people like that, but you know what?
I look like Goldberg. You know, people have said that before. I get that a lot. Yeah. That 12th husband will get you every time. True story, right? Third time's a charm? No, but that doesn't.
Let me see your mitt. Ooh.
So you see how there's no.
That's murdering. I don't like it.
Well, no, but if you look at the other guys, I will have to do it. Everyone's seen it. There's just a lot of wrinkles. You can see that it is considerably larger than his hand, right? I remember when you saw Tommy across the street in Florida, you said, "Oh, he's so cute." Yeah, I remember that.
And I never changed my mind. I really have the hots for Tommy. Of all the husbands, I mean, and I slept with the entire water polo team.
Sounds like Liz Taylor.
Yeah, sounds like Liz Taylor. Yes, and then there was the bartender on the cruise.
The pilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is creepy. I admit the gloves are creepy, but I've said to so many people that guy has small hands. And they go, no, everybody's gloves look like that. They look like skin when you put them on my hand. We can rule out Tommy. See that? That was the other thing I wanted to do, because the trolls are already trying to turn me in. In fact, do you remember the comment, Quibs? There literally is a comment on somebody's channel that said we would be perfect suspects. I think they even threw my brother in.
Oh, thanks, Kristen Melinda. I was going to say, we got to do more than that. I was about to. What'd you say, babe? Sorry, I wasn't listening.
On another channel, there were literally people that said that they should look for the three of us as suspects in the Nancy Guthrie.
Oh my God, I sent you that screenshot. Somebody emailed me a screenshot that somebody, and she's an ex-mod. She's an ex-mod of mine. And she went on a channel and said, me, you, and Johnny are prime suspects.
Yeah, because that Ecuador thing probably isn't throwing it off at all.
Well, I mean, it also doesn't. I'm just made of money. Why would I do that? I don't need that.
That's right.
I may know and love old people. I don't want to steal them. There's a different story. I just marry them. Crispy, extra. Babe, just real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking so cute.
Well, good. Let's get off here. I've got plans.
Oh, I got something for you.
Yeah. Don't tease me. Let's wrap this baby up. All right, people. I will be back tomorrow.
Does it look like I have anything on under this? I was waiting for your FaceTime, fella.
Why do you think I'm getting off? Between now and the next time I see you, get over there and smack the subscribe button at my wife's channel, Relatable Reese. Then head on over to Chase the Heat. It's my brother channel.
Sorry, I forgot you guys were here. All right. You ready?
I am. All righty, people.
Love you guys. Come subscribe, please. Quit messing around.
And do me a favor and pray for the Guthrie family, please. All right.
Hey, Chef Brian. Yes, definitely pray for them.
Chef, good to see you. All right, we're gonna get a room, Laura Beth, I promise. All right, people, we'll see you on the next one. I'm Tommy. God bless.